the whole thing from the beginning, I'll do that for you also. Okay. So anyhow, I was showing you about this banyan tree here that was right here on the wall. And this was a giant tree. And see, the people in there, you can see the size of that. And when that came down, it looked like that. And Grove Farm, who owns all this territory, they weren't sure what to do about the cave at this time. They might have bulldozed it for limestone. And they contacted this man, Dr. Burney, and he said he would take care of the cave. So he saved the cave, literally, him and his wife, Lyda. And they've done this great job here. And he wrote a great book that we sold for $20. And they're great people, him and Lyda. One of the ways they got to save the cave was way in the back, they found a blind cave spider.
Wow.
And it's the only place in the world that it lives. So it's an endangered species.
Nice.
So just the fact that it's there helps the cave be protected. So we like these little guys. And then I was telling you about bones we find here. These 5 birds here on the left are all extinct. But the biggest one was about 4 feet tall.
Wow.
Weighed about 40 pounds. No wings, no predators, no problems. Then the Polynesians show up about 1,000 years ago. And the next thing you know, it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
And these guys are eaten to extinction.
Oh,
And
no.
people didn't even know they existed till we found their bones. And now people know about giant flightless ducks.
Wow.
So if you want to see how big they were, this is the foot bone of a modern duck. That's a metatarsal. And this is one of those guys.
Wow.
This is a big bird, right? Whew. So for an animal find, that's probably the greatest thing we found here.
Goodness.
For a human find, this is my favorite one here. And this is a round, smooth piece of lava rock. And when you put water on it, it makes a mirror. It's a stone mirror. Now, you guys missed the story about the man who sat on the platform here. And there was a seer that sat on the platform in the 1880s. And he was like a mystical guy, right? So he probably used this as a visionary device because they didn't use this to comb their hair. This was a spiritual thing, right? So a few months ago on the island, I run into a woman who collects artifacts, and she showed me one of those mirrors. And that was cool. Then she said, you work at the cave, let me give you this box of broken artifacts, because she had all the complete ones. And in there was a piece of a stone mirror. Oh. So that's what they look like, and it actually works. You put water on it, and it makes a reflection off the top. And, you know, they didn't use it, like I said, to comb their hair. This was a spiritual thing. But they had to make this all by hand and everything. And the one that the doctor found is fantastic, spectacular and fantastic. But it's about half the thickness of this, and it's in perfect condition because it was found in that 7 pH groundwater. And it has a hole in it, so he wore it as a pendant. And then on one side is a crack that's shaped like a whale. So whoever made that left that on there intentionally. So, that, you know, it's a really cool artifact that the doctor found. But that's what the stone mirrors are like.
Can I ask you, what was the name of the bird?
What, pardon?
What was the name of that duck?
Oh, this one here, it's Mawa, you know.
So it never went extinct until Polynesians came?
Right, exactly. They lived here for 10,000 years, and when the Polynesians showed up, you know, they weren't afraid of people, and then they became instant luau, you know, and then they got eaten, and then we found their bones, and now people know about them. All right, so then these are other pieces of broken artifacts that were in that box that Rini gave me, except for this one here. And I found this myself up in Shipwrecks Beach. Now, in Shipwrecks Beach, there's a whole series of little caves. But you can't see them, but they're only one step down. But they're, you know, it's good that they're hidden because they're delicate. They're limestone caves, but they're delicate. So I found that a few months ago in one of them, and that's an awl, you see. It's a sea urchin spine, and that's a complete one. And this is a broken one here from that box of broken artifacts. So if you need a joke, that's all of an awl, and that's part of an awl. Part of an awl, right?
Nice.
And they made holes with it, weaving, and that's a real Hawaiian tool.
Wow.
And the latest thing found in the cave is this. And I found this in the back.
Oh,
I'll take you
nice.
where I found that, right? Neat. I found it a couple of months ago. So the first thing that we know is that it's not Hawaiian, because it's not Hawaiian stone, and they didn't make these kind of things. So now I'm trying to figure out what it is. And I'm led to believe at this point that it's Chinese, and it's a rat. It's probably a Chinese rat, but I don't know that for sure, but it probably is, because 5 different Chinese people said to me it's a rat. But 2 Chinese people said, that might not be a rat, it might be a mythological animal and not even be a real animal. So I need to meet somebody who really knows about these things, but because it could be 4 months old or it could be 100 years old.
Nice.
But anyway, I found that a few months ago back there. And there's a trick of Mother Nature that I told 2 weeks ago. I was telling people, you got to come back to Kauai to see this because it disappeared. But a couple of days ago it came back, so you guys get to see it. And this is a great trick. So everybody come on over here and check this out. Did you guys see this yet? Did you guys get to see it? You
we did.
Okay,
Thank you
we'll
very
see-
much, Jeff. Thank you very
Well,
much.
sign in the guest book there, please, and we
Okay.
do accept donations, so everything we get is helpful.
We did the donation.
Okay. Again, yeah, guys, come over here because this is a cool trick.
right.
And come stand over here and look at the top of this water. This is algae that grows on there, right? And it's not like the duckweed out there, it's different. Yeah, you ought to check this out, because this is cool.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it already?
I'm
You've seen
from
it?
here,
Okay.
yeah.
So then, when you remember what that looks like, walk over here and look at it again.
What?
See? It's the amazing disappearing algae trick.
Nice.
And, you know, it's a trick of Mother Nature, and the explanation is algae grows towards the sunlight.
Yeah.
And so the sun's over there, so the algae grows that way. And it changes all the time. Sometimes the amazing disappearing algae trick disappears altogether, and the amazing disappearing algae trick disappears when it's not on there. But, you know, sometimes it's on the edge, sometimes it's in the middle, and it's changing all the time. But Mother Nature can't be beat. It's a great trick. The amazing disappearing algae trick. Mother Nature, at her best. And this was a pit from last summer that a college class dug. And they found stone tools from the 1700s in there. And it was a really good find. And then the walls started collapsing when the groundwater came up. And in archaeology, every square inch has to be identified.
Yeah.
So that sat as an empty pit there for a whole year. And I kept telling people, they're going to have to fill that up. And then last month they finally filled it up. But it was a good find when they got in there.
Do they need a permit from?
Well, Dr. Bernie runs the place, right? So
Oh, okay.
he's a paleoecologist, which, you know, archaeology is part of it. So he's the one in charge.
Oh,
Yeah, nothing gets happened here without us knowing about it, really. And then in a limestone cave, you'd think you'd find lots of stalactites. And you'd be right, but they were stolen years ago.
oh
But
no.
here's one that he didn't get. So a stalactite happens when water drips from limestone, you get a stalactite. But if water just sits on the rock, you get cave popcorn, which is a natural formation, but it's not edible, cave popcorn.
Oh yeah.
Now, over here, there's a walkway that starts here, and this goes up like this. And then it goes up here.
Oh.
And up there's a cave big enough to stand up in. That cave has the remnants of a coffin. All that's left of the pieces, but we know who it was. It was the man who sat on the platform, the seer.
Wow.
He owned all this territory, and he wanted to be buried there in a coffin in a Civil War uniform.
Wow.
That's how that man went up. Hey guys, hey, if you just came in, if you want to get the whole tour from the beginning, you know, hang out there and I'll give you the whole thing. And this is the end of it.
Okay,
So
sounds
that way you
great.
won't miss out on any of the cool stories.
Sure, thank you.
Nice.
But so that was that man's place was up there. All that's gone up. We know his name and everything. And the Civil War uniform was taken in also, but we know about him.
Wow.
And then back down here is where the blind cave spiders are. That goes about a quarter of a mile and ends at the ocean. But about 20 yards in, there's a locked gate, and the spiders are beyond that, so nobody goes down there.
Oh yeah.
And then this is the sand where I found that little rat bead. And,
Nice.
you guys all have shoes on. Well, that's too bad, because this is the softest sand that you're ever going to feel. Easy to remove, I don't know. Because I come here to walk around here barefoot. Because this is, I never felt sand like this.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is like a foot massage, I'm telling you. Go right in over here. So this is like nice and deep in here. This feels really good. So I come here like 4 times a week just to walk around here barefoot.
Oh,
It's
yes.
like a foot massage, right?
It is nice.
And so we have great sand beaches in Kauai. There's no sand on any beach like this.
So
Why is
fine.
this sand so different from other sand? Well, this is sand and water. That makes rock because
Mm-hmm.
it's a limestone cave, right? But back here, there's a sand pocket. And you have to crawl on your belly for about 6 feet. And then it opens up into this little round room. And that was filled with the soft sand. And that was closed when the river folk were here to make the cave all those years ago. And then years later, the sand came out, and this is 400,000-year-old virgin sand. This is the softest sand that you're ever going to feel. And because it comes from a sand pocket, if you ever got any of the sand in your pocket, you'd have sand pocket pockets.
Nice.
Sand pocket pocket, right?
Nice.
Which is, sounds like gibberish, but it means something, you know, but it's sand pocket, right? But you know, I don't have any problem walking around here. And I stubbed my toe the other day, it's really hurt, so I just
a
do a
rock.
foot massage here now. And
Nice.
it's all healed up from the sand, right? Doesn't it feel good?
Yes, it does. It's nice and cool.
There was a 4-year-old girl here a couple of weeks ago. She was hugging me and telling me, "Mommy, I want to stay here."
It's so soft.
Yeah.
This is really
Does the sun make the sand grittier or something?
No, I don't think so. No, and this just has to do with, you know, the time and the way it was like all kept
Oh,
inside
okay.
there. You know, it was all kept, all protected in there.
This place is beautiful. Nice.
Sure thing, yeah. And guys,
Thank
please
you.
do sign in our guest book.
Will
And,
do.
we do accept donations. We have a $10 person suggested donation. So
All
whatever you
right.
pay is really helpful.
Excellent.
Just kind of a shoestring operation.
Yeah.
And then if you guys missed some of the story, I'll tell these guys the whole story from the beginning, so if you want to stick around for that.